Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Everything Canada Soccer podcast episode. This will be episode 11, starting a brand new series. Me and Felipe are going to count down from now till the World Cup, which is about 11 to 12 weeks away. I don't know how many days that's left. It's got to be in the 80s, I'm guessing.
Yeah, 85-ish. I know 100 days was
Yeah.
about a couple weeks ago, so
Yeah, exactly. So
hitting the
it's been
85.
we're close to the World Cup. We're going to count down, and to celebrate that whole process, we are going to pick our own starting 11s for the first game against Belgium. Oh boy, we're playing Belgium. I always have to remind myself. I'm so scared. But we're going to pick our own team. We've picked different formations. So I'll be lining up in a 3-5-2, as shown here on the graphic. For those of you that are watching purely audio, you're just going to have to imagine it in your head. I'm picking a 3-5-2 formation, or sorry, a 1-3-5-2, I should say. Don't forget about the goalkeeper. And Felipe's picking a 1-4-1-4-1, which we've played both formations in the qualification campaign, so very simple. So today we're going to start by picking our goalkeeper first. That is the main deal of the day, and then after we'll probably
just to add up to what you said, sorry for cutting you off, but the 4-1-4-1, some people might see it online or might see it in games and things like that as a 5-4-1, which technically you can see that guy in front of the line right there. He acts pretty much as an anchor, as a defender as well, right? So it's almost like a line of five, but technically the formation is called 4-1-4-1. So
yeah. Perfect. Lovely. Now, that's good for anyone that's not listening or not watching it physically. If you are audio, you should be watching a little physically just so you can see our beautiful faces. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. So pop back over here. The goalkeeper. Yes?
Yeah, I can hear you.
My computer. Sorry, my bad. My bad. Sorry. My computer is just very slow today, so I apologize for anything like that. Starting first in my goalkeeper position, it's kind of like it's not much of a guessing game who's going to be starting for me. It has to be Milan Borjan. It has to be. The way that he has fought for this Canadian team, the way that he has captained us, the way that he relentlessly puts himself on the line, making game-saving stops, especially against Mexico. I was there in person, right watching on the goal line, and just the emotions I felt from it. From that point, watching his saves against America, Costa Rica, you name it, he's always been there. He's been, I would argue, our best and most consistent player throughout the entire campaign. I can't remember, I can't recall him having a bad game. So, like
for Canada national team, he was phenomenal. He was voted Player of the Month a few times.
Mm-hmm.
He had a good season in Europe. Like, he's been having good seasons in Europe for the past few years. I don't see any other goalie fitting on that starting lineup besides him.
Yeah, no, 100%. Sadly, I haven't been able to watch him at Red Star Belgrade. I don't know how to get his games, but he did score a goal in the last game of the season, I think. So he's having fun in Red Star. It was a penalty. It was just hilarious. His celebration was amazing as well. But no, there really isn't anyone that's kind of close to Borjan. He's 34 years old, which is he's getting to that end portion of his career. Goalkeepers obviously last a bit longer, but at the same time, he still has plenty to offer, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the next World Cup in 4 years. 38, I think he still could be a great figure on the bench, unless we have three amazing generational goaltenders come through the ranks, which I'm not sure. There's a couple prospects, but nothing too crazy. But longevity, saves at crucial times, I think, is what comes to mind. It's always during when we're on the ropes or anything like that. He makes amazing save, and then we just kick on as an entire team doing it, and then go dominate the rest of the game or whoever it is. But that's my pick for my starting goalkeeper is Milan Borjan.
Cool. I'll go for the same. If I was to pick a replacement, that would be the toughest position because if I were just to bring one, I would be in between Max Crepeau and Danny Sinclair.
Mm-hmm.
Dane plays for a weaker team in the MLS, so he gets tested more often than Max.
That's true.
And I don't like Max leaving Canada to go to an American team, so I'm gonna pick Danny Sinclair.
Dang.
Just because I feel like he's maybe 3 or 4 years younger than Max.
Yeah, it's 3 years younger.
And it's good to have the mix of an older goalie with a younger goalie in terms of mentorship and experience. But if I was to bring 3 goalies, of course I would bring Max Crepeau as well, Dan Sinclair, and then Milan.
Yeah, it's tough because Crepeau's probably had the better career. He's worth more on transfer market. He's listed at 2.75, so obviously he has a bit more experience.
It's more clean sheets this season too than Dan Sinclair.
Exactly, and he's as well playing in a better team. I mean, for goodness sakes, he plays behind Jorginho Chiellini. Yep. I mean, that has to obviously come into something, but he maybe not tested as much and still performing just as well. He's had more experience in Canada's first team than Dane Sinclair, and obviously Dane Sinclair's younger. He's finally getting closer to that prime of his career, so he's close. I swear only a couple of years ago he was like 19, but 20 looks even for a 25-year-old. But I think just based on experience on a professional level, I'm going to have to go Maxime Crepeau. I just feel like that experience won't make him as... Like, if something goes wrong in the World Cup, you can't have a David De Gea situation where you save, like, where he, collapses in a game. And I feel like having a little bit more experience with Crepeau, he'll be able to deal with that a little bit more. That's my opinion. That's who I have as my kind of backup to my goalkeeper position.
Yep. I agree. That's why, usually you'll bring 3 goalies, right? You bring a young one, an experienced one, and you're starting one. So that would be the way to go. Now, defender. Jordan. Sorry, defender. You were going to ask me something.
No, I was just going to say, like, stay on that top of the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? I completely lost my... Like, do you think... Oh, sorry. Do you think that there's any other goalkeeper, or do you know of any other goalkeepers that could break into these 3? Because it seems like these 3 have just formed a partnership.
Yeah, I feel like for that, yes. The CPL are not looked from Canada national team at this stage at all. If there was, I could definitely say we do have some talent in the CPL that would be worth it to bring because of development of the player.
Yeah.
We're seeing good players like Colin Irving, like Carducci, you know what I mean? Like goalies like that, that could have a 3rd goalie spot. But again, they wouldn't never, if they don't leave the CPL and then go to bigger heights, they would most likely not be assuming that starting lineup, right?
Yeah.
But looking to Europe, we have Litwiller, which is he's playing German league for the past quite a few years. The guy's like 34 or 33. So he will be an experienced goalie to bring.
Yeah.
He played there before for Canada national team. It's not that he played during the bad days, you know what I mean? The days that we're struggling a lot.
Yeah.
And we have this kid, which is half Croatian, half Canadian, that is a bench goalie on the French league for Reims. Kujica. Like, he's the kind of young goalie that it's good to watch out because he is playing for a League One club. He does have caps already for the French league. He's just 21 years old goalie in Europe. Like, will take you a few years to establish yourself. But he is in the right club because, the smaller the club, the more you, as a goalie, the higher the chance you actually getting a place and being able to play. So he might be a goalie we'll see in the next World Cup. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah. What about you? Any other goalie?
Not that I know of. Goalkeeper in Canada, I feel like I don't know as well. And the goalkeeper position, I just don't know how to. So that's why I was looking towards you. But move on from our goalkeeper and move on to our defenders.
Yeah.
So since I have 3 at the back, I'll go 1, 2, 3 just right away because I feel like as a unit, they need to be talked about together, not just putting one in a row. So as my center back, just looking at the list, I could go Hutchinson because he doesn't have as much mobility. If I put him in the midfield, I guess game 1, Lukaku is probably going to be starting for Belgium.
Yep.
I'm probably gonna have to go. It sounds weird, but I'm probably gonna have to go Atiba Hutchinson as my main center
Mhm.
back.
Okay.
My left-sided center back, which is very important, is probably gonna be Kamal Miller. He's
Okay.
left-footed
Yeah,
if I remember correctly,
he is. He is, and
which
he does have good pass. So
which is crucial. But you can't have a right-footed left center back. That just makes no sense. And I'm gonna go with
like
Alistair.
you can if you are a team that dominates the possession in
If
the
you really
opposite
dominate,
field.
yes,
So, but that's not our case. We tend to defend and do
exactly.
effective counterattacks, right? So,
Exactly. And Kamal Miller is faster, which goes along with my right center back, Alistair
yeah,
Johnson. I think he's brilliant in that right
yeah,
center back position when he's played there. He's an absolute dog. He'll fight for the ball. He's
yeah,
annoying to play against. Every winger that ever played against him when we would watch him on TV just looked like they're having just a hell of a day. So I think having those two to cushion Atiba Hutchinson in that position, I think is the move for me. Having that mobility with Kamal Miller and Alistair Johnston is absolutely crucial.
yeah. I agree with you.
That's my back three.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you, and I feel like I'm quite similar to you. Like, but I will put Atiba, especially because I'm doing that 4-1-4-1. So I'll put
Mm-hmm.
Atiba as the defensive midfielder guy. But
Mm-hmm.
for my four line, left back, we'll do Aketube. I always
Adekugbe, yeah,
I'm
Adekugbe.
always bad at speaking his last name, but Sam Adekube.
Oh,
He's
Sammy.
playing Turkey. He's had a really good 4 or 5 last matches of the FIFA qualifier with us. He scored goals. Like he was a leader
Jumping in
to
the
a few of the
snow.
games that we didn't had Alfonso Davis because of
Mm-hmm.
the hard conditions. So he took that leadership role and he played
Scored
left
against
wing.
the
He played
Americans as
left
well.
back. Exactly, which it's always good, right?
Yeah.
So he's definitely my left back. My left CB, you'll be Kamal Miller as a replacement of Kamal Miller, Derek Cornelius, which is playing
Mm-hmm.
Greek league, and he's also a CB with similar characteristics of
Yeah.
Kamal Miller. I personally like Kamal Miller more, but
Mm-hmm.
Derek Cornelius is having experience in Europe, and he's actually making through it. Um, and he got it a really bad team in the Greek league that almost got relegated, and they fought against relegation. And
Yeah.
so he's being tested. You know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah.
not
Mm-hmm.
playing on that
He's had to
defense
defend.
that's not being tested, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. And then for the right CB, I will go for Vitoria. I know that he's old, but he still plays Portuguese league. He has the experience that he needs as a CB. My only
Yeah.
downside with him is he's low, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for a team like Belgium, sometimes you might need a faster CB. So I agree that putting Alistair Johnson as a right CB
Mm-hmm.
is awesome because he has the mentality that he can defend. He can play as a fullback if he wants to,
Yeah.
but he's usually doing quite a good job as a right CB.
Yeah.
And right back, I'll go for Richie Larea.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Johnson can be the replacement in case Larea is playing as a winger or Larea is not playing.
Yeah.
And the only one that I have not put it as a replacement was the left back. That is a guy that's playing. He plays Chilean professional league for
Mm-hmm.
Huachipato. He is Canadian, and he's been one of the best left back and right backs. He can play both sides in the
Mm-hmm.
Chilean league. It's just he never gets called for Canada national team. I'll give him a chance, especially during friendly matches.
Yeah.
His name
Mm-hmm.
is Juan Cordova.
Heard
Because
of that
I've
name.
watched him play. I watch highlights of him before, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not Chilean, but as a Brazilian, I do follow some South American football,
Yeah.
and he is much better than some of the options we have, and he is 26,
Okay.
27. He's been playing a tougher league than, for example, in my opinion, the MLS. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's well groomed to play on national team, but again, he'll be a replacement. So that's
Okay.
my
All
line
right.
of four with replacements.
Perfect. Yeah, Stephen Fatoria and Scott Kennedy probably would probably replace any one of those three.
Yours, cool.
Yeah, having a back three, there's not many room for substitutes and replacements, but those would be mine. Uh, Move on quickly to my wing backs. I'll have left wing back. Pretty obvious. Especially against Belgium, I'm gonna have to go Alfonso Davies because we need him to attack and
Yeah,
defend. We can't. We don't have the luxury against Morocco. We could probably throw him as a more advanced forward, or like a left midfielder, left winger, but we need him to defend as well, especially in a back five. He can cover so much space, and I know Belgium probably will want to avoid our left side just because it is strong, but I think our right side is also equally as strong since I'm putting Richie
Yeah.
Larea as that right wing back. I think those two will work in unison together. Alfonso Davis can defend, Larea can defend, but they're also very good going forward, especially on our left side. So I think
Yeah.
having those two would be perfect replacements for them. That's where it's a little bit of a problem. You could put Tajon Buchanan as either one of those replacements, but I'd much rather have him starting because he's very tricky. So those would be my two wing back, so to speak.
Cool. I put it Richie Larea as a right back. So in this case, I'm not gonna go with him on the left back mainly because of that. But to start on the left back, Alfonso Davis, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And then as a bench for Alfonso Davis, I feel like, that's a tricky one because it's exactly what you said. Alfonso Davis is usually a left back, right? So he has the ability of being really good offensively. He's really fast, probably one of the fastest players on earth.
100%.
But he can defend, right? So I'm gonna pick one that cannot defend like him, but can do that function well, which is Junior Hoylett. I think that he deserves a spot on this national team for the World Cup for what he has done to the Canada national team over the past 5 to 6 years. He's always been representing. Even when we have a hard time to bring European players to come play, he's always trying to go. He does play the championship, which is a competitive league. So he's going to be my replacement on the left. And then on the right, I'll have Tajon Buchanan as my main, right winger right there. Of course, for games like Belgium, if we go with your formation, I would rather have Rich Larea. But in this case, that's a tricky position to kind of find a replacement because I'm most likely going to pick Liam Millar to play on the flanks. He's not good. He's used to play a left winger in Basel right now, but he has done before the right flanks as well. And same as the player that I just said to be the replacement of Alfonso Davis. He can also do the right flank, right? So those would be the flank players I'll get. Alfonso Davis, Millar, Buchanan, and Hoylett. So
perfect. All right. Midfield time. This is my favorite part. As a midfielder when I played, I love picking midfield. So I have my field as a single pivot, so one defensive midfielder and two number 8s because I don't think we can have the luxury of having two extremely attacking players. We're going to need 2 box-to-boxes in order to support our one defensive midfielder, especially with how good Belgium's midfield is. We definitely need to as many players in that space as we can. So in that holding position, it's easy. Oh, are you there? Felipe? Oh, there we go.
I'm alive.
I saw a big F on your screen.
Okay. I didn't mean it,
So
don't take it personal, the big F on the screen.
Okay, perfect. So as my defensive midfielder, lots of choices, but it's easily going to be Eustachiou for me. I think he's been, again, along with Borjan, FC Porto right there. He's been brilliant with Canada. Breakout season, or I guess breakout windows over and over, just did his job. Tidy, didn't really get mixed up in anything. He's shorter, yes. So in order to help out with Lukaku, maybe not. But that's why we have Atiba Hutchinson. In your formation, we have him as the holding mid. In my formation, he's that defensive mid in front of a back three with Atiba. He can scoop up all the loose balls in front of that back three and progress the ball forward. He's what he's great at. So he's my defensive midfielder. Our two number 8s going up and down with him. It's kind of short, but I think Mark Anthony Kaye struck up a great partnership with Eustachiou and Jonathan Osorio, a bit more of an attacking option, but I think that gives us a bit more flexibility. He can come back and he can do a defensive job, as we've seen at Toronto FC. He's obviously played all over the park, but I think those three together, defending tight and exploding out with pace. Mark Anthony Kaye is very athletic. Osorio is very technical, can get the ball forward. I think that has to be the back three. In terms of substitutes, though, that's where it gets slightly thinner. But We do have Piet. I think he just barely
Yeah.
makes it. I think in terms of overall depth, we're gonna need something like him. But at the same time, you could even make an argument if Larea doesn't start that he could fill in at center mid. He can sometimes inverts himself when he plays with Toronto FC. He doesn't just stick out wide the entire time. He's very comfortable on the ball when he comes into the middle. So I think if he does, let's say he doesn't get played in that wing back position, he could definitely help out in that center midfielder. But I think Piet's kind of the only option. Again, Vittoria could fill in where Hutchinson is, use that height, and then Hutchinson can come in as a substitute, as a backup, because he is 39 years old. Let's be honest. Let's be realistic. He's not going to be playing 90.
No.
He's not going to be playing the 270 minutes that we would have liked to have him play. But
Yeah.
against Belgium, I think those three start for me with Piet in the background, ready to come on at a moment's notice.
Cool. And I think that's pretty solid for the like the formation you have in place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially looking at the age of Hutchinson.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. It's tough to, like, you have to bring a defender or a defensive midfielder with similar characteristics, because you don't know how his body is going to react there, right? So
Exactly.
That's usually how it is. Now for me, I have three midfielders, right? Not counting the wingers. So Atiba Hudson will be my anchor, my defensive midfielder. To be his backup, Piet, or from Montreal, because of similar characteristics and experience with the team. I could put Leon Fraser. He's playing the Belgian league, but he is playing starting up and stuff like that. But I think that he's going to be my replacement for Marc-Anthony Kaye. Marc-Anthony Kaye is left-footy, center midfield, and then I feel like he would shape in my team. Same as Eustáquio, of course, from Porto FC, but he will be my other midfielder as well. And as a replacement for Eustáquio, I would have Jonathan Osorio, especially if we need someone that, because like Eustáquio has a really good pass. He can do corner kicks, fall kicks, as we see in national team. He scored fall kicks goal. Yeah. But Osorio has that penetration, like movement that usually Eustáquio don't have it. So if we need on the second half or something like that, will be a perfect replacement in my opinion. So yeah, Eustáquio, Osorio, Kaye, and I forgot his name right now, but the kid that's playing Belgian, and then
Fraser, yeah,
Liam Fraser, sorry, and then Hutchinson and Piet. But also, if we go with your formation, Junior Hoylett can do the midfielder also on the left side instead of Marc-Anthony. It can be him, right? So I'm just not putting him because I put him as a left winger, but he could also play on the left side of the midfield, and he does a good job. We've seen him playing even number 10 before, so that's
probably who I would have as that left number 8. Maybe if we're chasing the game, that's probably where I would throw him, not as a wingback, because I think Alfonso Davis takes that spot. No one takes it from him, and hopefully his fitness is fine. But that's probably where I'd throw him.
Yeah. Hopefully we don't need to sub him. Hope he can play 90 minutes every game.
Oh, man. Hopefully not, man. It's the World Cup, so I don't think Bayern Munich can really say, hey, you can only play him for X amount of minutes. We're going to play him as long as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, perfect. I have 2 attackers left. You have 1. Make sure you really pick the right one. But I've gone with a bit of more of a staggered approach. So not like just 2 twos that are just working together. I've 1 kind of dropping in, because as you said, those number 8s are going to have to go run up and down. We're going to have 1 connecting kind of false 9 sort of center forward, and then have like a proper striker up front. There's a lot of positions for that top one, but I'm going to have to say Jonathan David's going to be my center forward, because I think he plays that connecting role better than he does at just a standalone striker. If you saw whenever he played with Kyle Larin in the World Cup qualifiers, they were absolutely mint with each other, linking up all the time. Jonathan David would receive the ball, play through Larin. It was fantastic to watch. So that's who I have at the moment as my center forward. And just ahead of him will be Kyle Larin. I think that move to Club Brugge was good for him to get out of the Turkish league. It was good for him. He had a solid career there, but he's in his prime now. I think the Belgian league is good in terms of developing, and I think he'll grow as a player and maybe, just maybe, find his way to a top 3 league in terms of either Spain, England, or like a Germany, Italy type of deal. I definitely think he's capable of making it that far, but that's who I have as my little duo up front. I think they could cause real trouble for the Belgian backline.
I agree. I feel like those are 2 good picks. So for me, I only have to pick one, right? So it's Jonathan David. It's a no-brainer because he can play outside, he can play inside. Yeah, he's more agile and faster than Lauren. But Lauren will be my replacement. And of course, playing on your formation, I would play Lauren ahead of Jonathan David, Jonathan Vader as a poacher right behind.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the 2 for me in front, right? Who's your replacement? For both
my replacement for the striker position for Kyle Larin would be Lucas Cavallini.
Nice.
I think he's very we watched him in person, right? So he's like very, like, you see him on TV, he looks strong. If you watch him in person, he's tall and like built. Like he's an absolute rock. Like his
position is really good too. You can see that he's really
he's smart.
really aware of what's happening around the field, and he knows what to place himself, right? Like
a very, very clever player, very, very strong, and I think that would be my Kyle Larin backup. In terms of Jonathan David, I haven't picked Tajon Buchanan, have I? No, I haven't.
You haven't picked Buchanan? No,
I haven't. Yeah, I'm probably. Then that would be. I think that would be my center forward, because he'd be similar to David in terms of he's agile. He can move all across the front line, creating options, dragging defenders around. I think he'd be amazing at that, and it could also pull out wide and then just kind of leave Larin as that focal point up front. If he pulls wide, he could just be like have like almost like a lopsided attack, or just throw Tajon wherever their weak side is. Just tell him to just sit there and attack.
I feel like watching the game against Panama, that he runs like half field and he still gets the ball before leaving and cuts it, and he goes through the inside. Like it's just, he has the speed, right? So it's sometimes it's even good to have him on the bench for second half, right? Like you get the other team tired.
The energy you
bring. Like Belgium, if you're able to hold 0-0, 60, 70 minutes of the game, you pass the responsibility to them, because now they have the responsibility. Like, fuck, sorry for the language, guys, but like we have 20 minutes, 30 minutes to beat the team that everyone thought that we're going to beat. So the responsibility is on their lap now. You know what I mean? So they start thinking unorganized. They start moving ahead. Some players might do things that they're not supposed to be doing, going too farther on the offense. And that's when you should explore speed and counterattack, right? Like, you should be able to hold the 0-0 for 60, 70 minutes. That'll be perfect to have Buchanan on the second half.
That also might be perfect to throw him as like a left wing back and then push Davies forward and cause some real issues. Alfonso Davies, when he was played as a forward, just like, it looked confusing at times, but like that's good, because you want him to be causing all types of chaos right in front of the center backs.
Yeah, and some of the times that he plays against teams where the opposition were so weak offensively that the left back behind him didn't have much of not left back, but the line of defender or the left back, doesn't matter. They didn't have much like extremely amount of work, so he wasn't really focused on defending at all. And I feel like that's what it created confusion to him, because he's always defending and attacking. And then if he needs to defend for 30, 40 minutes in a row, it's like, do I have to come back? Like, is it necessary right now? Like, do we have possession again? Like, he will have that lapse of not knowing how to play just on the offense. But I feel like it's part of the game. That's not his true position. It's just he's the most talented player we have, right? So we play him in that role. But I feel like a player that we should add, not you, again, that's your team. I'll put on the screen here. Everyone can see both teams. But Ike Ukebo, like, he had a good season last year. Of course, we're not bringing 23 or bringing 26 player. So I feel like having that, he has similar style than Jonathan David. So I feel like it would be a good player to have in case David get injury, or we needed a guy that knows how to play number 11 style, not number 9, but kind of guy that plays a little bit outside as a second striker. I feel like he could do a good job for us. So same as Liam Miller, he can play that position as well.
Oh, 100%. We have a plethora of attacking options. Just wish we had a little bit more cover at the back. But you know what? I think that's why I picked a back three, because I just feel like at the end of the day, it'll be more of a back five, especially against Belgium. Croatia, Morocco, it could be a little bit different, but I believe in Jonathan Herdman. I think he's gotten us this far. We've won the group. There's no reason to doubt at this moment that we could even win a game. It's just what will all
Oh
our
no,
injuries look
we're
like? Will
playing
our players
Morocco.
be?
With all the respect to Morocco, like they are better in the rankings than we are. They played more World Cups recently than we did.
Yeah,
But we have true chances against beating them. We just have to make
yeah.
sure we control ourselves and do a good job against the tough teams, right? So
Of course, if we can grab a draw with any of the other two, then I think we have a chance.
well, I want to watch the Canada games, but I also want to see if we're gonna have any places in Calgary to watch.
Yeah,
Because
there's probably some places, man. I can't wait, and hopefully, I just can't wait.
cool.
But
Okay.
thanks for sticking with us. Looking at our teams, make sure you comment your own team. Who would you pick if you disagree with anything? Let us know everything. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you watch out for our next one. Remember, it's 2 podcasts a week, one being released Friday, the other being released Monday. So make sure you watch out for that. Keep that on your calendars. And we're close. How many days to the World Cup? Let's figure this out. How many days to the World Cup?
How many days?
I give you guys. Let's see.
So we are 83 days away. We said 85, so we're
83
quite close
days
to the
away.
beginning. Yeah, that's
Yeah, you're close.
all
right, guys.
That's pretty soon. It's gonna
Thanks
go
for
by
tuning
really
in.
fast.
It's so close. It's so close.
Cool.
But thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you on Friday. Cheers.
Cheers.